I always say I'm okay and I can deal with upfront in my face racism. I can deal with those people. Like I don't have any issues with those people. That's how they were brought up and raised. Their grandparents and great grandparents probably owned plantations or whatever. That's cool. Okay? And they're gonna let me know how they feel about me from the rip, and I understand and I know how to maneuver around that. The absolute worst type of racism to me is the racist that will shake your hand, smile in your face, have a small conversation with you, tell you, that they're going to give you something, and then as soon as you leave and the door closes, I got to wash my hands. I can't believe that I shook this monkey's hand. There's no way I have him working beside me. Who knows? Maybe he'll move into my neighborhood and have mixed grandbabies or something.
That's the voice.
Like a judge has ordered Wells Fargo to face a lawsuit after it lied about its commitment to diversity. Okay, the bank held fake interviews with thousands of black candidates, but the jobs were already filled. Now, this is one of my biggest gripes about America, society, the universe, the world, okay? Because I always say I'm okay and I can deal with upfront in my face racism. I can deal with those people. Like I don't have any issues with those people. That's how they were brought up and raised. Their grandparents and great grandparents probably owned plantations or whatever. That's cool. Okay? And they're gonna let me know how they feel about me from the rip, and I understand and I know how to maneuver around that. The absolute worst type of racism to me is the racist that will shake your hand, smile in your face, have a small conversation with you, tell you, that they're going to give you something, and then as soon as you leave and the door closes, I got to wash my hands. I can't believe that I shook this monkey's hand. There's no fucking way I have him working beside me. Who knows? Maybe he'll move into my neighborhood and have mixed grandbabies or something.
That's the voice.
Like seriously, man, those are the ones, and it's so fucking hard to detect. But these are the ones that I hate the most. And Wells Fargo, we should all pull our monies out and fucking raid the Capitol Hill for this. Okay?
Raid Capitol Hill, not
Wells
Wells Fargo headquarters.
But
What?
I said I don't know about the rating, but I like that.
Rating needs to happen.
I mean, I think a lot of banks have a lot of issues. This in particular, like who said that this was okay to do, to waste all these hours, these billable hours, I'm sure, for a lot of people to like just spend all this time and energy wasting everyone's time. They're just
You're talking about with the fake
interviewing.
interviews?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's nuts.
the way I look at it though is that like there is a kind of societal pressure to appear inclusive, and we have like the Rooney Rule in football.
Yeah, that's the one thing that comes to mind.
And it's like I think that's the most familiar analogy for us as sports fans. But you have this thing where you do not want to be the company that ostensibly makes no effort. And so you're going to have these interviews and appear to comply with some. Now in the NFL, there's an actual rule about it, but I don't know the banking industry as well if there's any sort of written rule or there's just kind of a standard of conduct. But if it's not sincere, it is a waste of time. You're trying to appear as something you're not. If you're actually an inclusive and diverse company, you're going to recruit diversity. Because by bringing diversity in, you make what you are better through the diversity. You have other ideas, other conceptions. You can tap into other markets. But if you're just going through the motions to comply with a vague, ostensible social code, then it's a farce, and they should be penalized, and they should be made to pay. Again, with the lawsuit, I'm not sure how they're going to calculate damages and what they're actually seeking. But if there's a way to get compensation for that, it absolutely should happen. But it is, I think, rooted in a kind of social satisfaction on a superficial level that we are interviewing candidates and this and that, but you're not ready to pull the trigger. You're not really ready to change the culture of your organization in a meaningful way. So it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It is, and some of it, to be honest, a lot of it is these older people who are sometimes they don't even mean harm.
They don't know that they're harming.
Yeah, they don't know that they're causing harm, and they wouldn't label themselves as racist. Mm-hmm. They just are thinking like, okay, I don't want to hire a black man or woman for this role because it requires a little more cerebral or whatever that they're thinking at the time.
They have perceptions. They have perceptions, and kind of pulling it back to sports. Like there's a long period of time, like where it was felt in league circles that black people could not play quarterback or middle linebacker on defense.
Exactly.
And those, but the thing, and again, when you talk about racism, you have an element of people that are blatantly racist, and they don't mind espousing views that are horrific to me.
Right.
And that's who they are, and they take pride in being that, whatever. I take pride in their funeral. But then there's a majority of people that have been like almost subconsciously educated in the ways of passive racism. Yeah. They live largely in social bubbles, where it's almost exclusively kind of white, and any person of a minority that they encounter is basically on white terms. If you're in a job and you're in an office setting and there's 18 people in the office and one is black, you are in a white setting. Mm-hmm. That's the white culture, that you are exposed to a black person in a white environment. That's a different experience than being with a black person in a black environment. It's completely different. And it's like you don't have that. Now, when you were up in Atlanta, I did a show with Ernest. And it was a Facebook post, and it was along the lines of that, like people outside, like their own friend circle, like white people have in their actual friend circle, it's predominantly white, and black people is very similar. Their actual friend circle outside professional environments, it's exceptionally black, and that is where we fail to connect, because we don't see each other other than in these limited settings.
But the black people that have the largely black circles are forced to know how to deal with other people in their circles.
For sure. And it's not necessarily the other way around.
Yeah, white people do not have to deal with us. And so the issue, go ahead.
No, and that's the fundamental core of, I think, where you were going with, you have this like older white guys, and they just kind of, an interview comes in and they expect to maybe see a white person and they're going to hire that because that feels comfortable to them. That's where it operates on the subcultural level, because so many of those people have never been exposed to being the minority in a situation. And they're just seeking what they almost subconsciously see as comfort and familiarity. And the end result of that is racism, because it affects hiring, it affects job opportunities. It's all those situations that occur when a black person comes in to buy something or get a mortgage, and before the conversation begins, there's a perception in that banker's mind that, oh, this person probably can't afford it, they're not going to qualify. Mm-hmm. That's how all that shit keeps moving. And it has to be spoken about, it has to be addressed so that it could potentially be changed. As long as it's passively accepted, it's just as insidious and evil as the fucking Klan hood guy or the MAGA motherfucker.
My point.
But you can, I mean, that's why the key to any of this is rooted in education and actual diversity, where you're around people,
and knowing that people
sometimes you're the minority,
and
you find commonness in your humanity, not your differences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did an event. Well, excuse me, I was like volunteering, working the door. I didn't do the event, but I was working the door. Let me be clear. For Ronnie and Angeli for the Vibe Dealer and Fancy Foodie 365, and it was the Orlando Rodeo, and the way that it was promoted, and then other like Orlando Weekly and some other sites picked it up. Me working the door, I got to see people that were so surprised to see black people at a rodeo event. And one guy in particular, like my friend and I, we were sitting there, and I was legitimately concerned that he was gonna go get his friends,
his friends.
and come back and harass us. He was just like, "Is this a black event?" And we were like, well, there are black people here, but you can come. It's going to be fine. And he was just so visibly uncomfortable. And he was just like, I thought it was going to be people like me in the the raised up trucks and the in the booths and white country people, and we were like, if you go in and don't have a good time, you can leave, but I promise we're welcoming and all that stuff. And so my guy Ryan, his name is Ryan, he went in there, and I went eventually to go check on him, and he was just so amazed. He was like we were welcoming everyone, like he had the best time, but it just took him to break his comfort zone, and he was just like, oh my gosh. And then he was like, hair is my thing. I've never seen so many different hairstyles. Like, he really just connected with people.
That's fun.
But that can literally be all it takes to just, okay, I'm going to go into this space, but it takes a level of discomfort that Black people are used to having to do. And other people do not, like white people don't have to do that most times. And so you get the judges and the police officers and the Wells Fargo executives that get to say, these people like aren't like us. So we're not going to like really do this. We're just going to do the performative thing. And that gets us nowhere.
No.
We'd rather just tell us we don't want Blacks here. Like, I mean, but then they're gonna get in trouble. So then they have to do the performative.
But again, like the we kind of get fired up about like the big scale things, and it's who's the president, who's this, and those things have to be addressed. Mm-hmm. But it's also on the small level of just connecting with people and creating those experiences. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say that guy that you experienced that came to that event.
His life has changed.
It will be changed in some way.
Yeah.
Like in some way. I can't say like 100%.
He's still going to be some racist, but then he's going to be like, you know what?
Because he had that experience that it was different than what he expected it to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one of those things that like on just a basic individual personal level, we are all better by getting in those experiences.
Yeah. All right. Let's move it along here. That was a good conversation there. Really quick, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors here, Royal13thebrand.com. Again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Use promo code Bubba Pink and be fresh here. We know that the school is starting. Is it Monday?
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, school is starting Monday. So
we're
use
out there
promo code
passing
Bubba
out
Pink.
book bags in Seminole County today.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man. All righty here. So